Release District.
Agbaya, 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 Agbaya.
Jeez, come on, live in the flesh.
In the flesh, we're alive.
It's the Agbaya show.
Make sure you like and subscribe.
We saying episode 10.
Mm-hmm.
And you're tuned in with Damo.
And J. Jules.
Remington.
What you man saying, man?
I'm blessed, bro.
Come on.
There you are. Come on, my guy.
It's one of them ones, man. Crazy weeks, man. You know me. Crazy weeks are happening always, man. Because the nonsense I'm seeing this week, there's so many Agbayas, but unfortunately, we just have to go down to one. You see what I'm trying to say? But before that, obviously, we got a family guest in the house.
Come on.
Obviously, special guest, but it's a family because it's someone that we've known
way back,
dear to us. You see, you get me? Come out fresh from Thamesmead, you know them ones there.
Facts.
Goes by the name of, you get me, Agbaya. Nah, play, come on, old school, come on, man. We got Mo Keys, Mo Samuel.
Jeez.
Come on, in the building. What you telling me, man?
Man, so I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be amongst family. It's been
It's been a minute.
15 years now, isn't it?
It's been a minute.
15
bro.
years, man. I said secondary school, college.
Yeah.
It's a blessing, man. I'm happy to come and support what you guys got going on over here. So,
Love, man. Come on.
And you know, it's one of them ones, like, you're even meant to come on earlier, but with your business schedule, like, it's crazy, fam.
Yeah. Me and Damo definitely tried to make it happen a few times, but
Man told me, 1 minute, where you at? I'm in Greece.
I'm somewhere else. But there's no time better than the perfect time. So
exactly.
Yeah,
come on.
We're here.
But obviously, thank you for coming on. And obviously, there might be people out there that don't know who you are. So, give them a little introduction of what you do, where you're from.
Wow. Mo Samuels.
Come on.
Music producer, model, fashion designer, stylist.
Come on.
Young entrepreneur.
Hey.
Originally from Thamesmead, Southeast London.
Jeez.
And all the way over to Los Angeles. So
Hey. I said, look, Anthony Compton,
South Central.
Man had to clear it. But hey, man, but obviously we're gonna get deep into what's been going on with you and keeping up with you get me the Samuels, you get me. But before we move on, obviously it's Agbaya of the week, and obviously you get me. Gonna let the clip roll.
Obviously, I met Tanya as well, and I have opportunities to do certain things now.
What were you guys doing before?
I was an airport security officer.
My issue, SHAQ, is that the way I see things, you're bound to go back. For you guys who I had beef with the entire season,
let's not put this negative energy in.
Don't make me do it. Let me tell you what's going to happen.
I'm rebuking this energy. No.
Personally, I don't even want to make SIDEMAN the Agbaya of the week.
But he has to hold it a little bit still.
Bro, he has to hold it.
it.
No. I feel him at the same time, but you know what it is? It's a good message, but it's just, I don't know, the articulation behind it.
Yeah, the way it was said, like.
It was harsh.
Yeah.
Man said you're bound to.
Like, there's no choice. It's going to happen.
Nah,
that don't make sense.
You know, when you're in front of the judge and he says bound.
Yeah.
10 years, bruv. Brother,
It hasn't happened for everyone. Look at Damien, India. They're still doing their thing now.
Yeah, but you know what? Obviously, there still is like an element of truth in what he's saying. Yeah, because nowadays with Love Island contestants, they come out, some of them go on to be big stars and whatnot. Some come back to their normal routine activities. You understand? So he's not lying. And with SHAQ and Tanya, obviously there is a sort of...
No, you know what it is? He could have just worded it better. But I think, you know what it is? Really and truly is a lesson learned, innit? Maybe on his behalf, because that could genuinely be
SIDEMAN's
him.
behalf.
Yeah. Because again, like you're saying, obviously... We have to be real, innit? People think like that, innit? So obviously, SIDEMAN...
He's just saying what a lot of people say.
SIDEMAN saying what he's hearing in wherever, you know what I'm trying to say?
Bruv, listen.
But...
Man saying, God forbid. Like, you see what Tanya said, God forbid.
No, but you know what it is?
I won't even, no. I won't even let, sorry to cut you off, I won't even let him finish off anything he has to say throughout the show.
Yeah, but...
It was God forbid. God forbid.
But then you know what it is? It shows this is why SIDEMAN is doing this to SHAQ, because even you're doing that and you're not even backing yourself. You're just there like you're even looking.
Oh, what
man,
SHAQ's not saying nothing.
He's not really defending himself.
It's
You know what I'm
Tanya
trying to
that's
say?
really riding.
Yeah.
But you know what? It leads on to.
Do you think that's why he thinks he can say that though? Do you think if you backed yourself a little bit more, you'll be like, I quite hell what you're saying.
So basically, you're saying that if it was someone like Anthony Joshua sitting there, SIDEMAN wouldn't have that sort of energy to say to him, "You're bound to go back to be airport security."
Yeah, I doubt it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I doubt it. And if he had, and if he had an issue, no, my thing is just this: if he had an issue with AJ, the way he will
Approach will be different.
yeah, the way he will
It'll be
approach it will be different.
100%.
The way he's approaching this with SHAQ is about, bro, you take it easy, bro.
Yeah,
You're doing
it's kind of
too
like
much.
sunning him a little bit.
Yeah. But you know what? I guess it's because he's seen his behavior that's led to his reaction. Like
Yeah.
people have watched SHAQ for like 8 weeks.
Yeah.
You understand? Seeing
Yeah.
this guy doing kind of mad stuff. So
But at the end of the video, he did say that I'm not trying to like say like I'm not you know what I mean? I'm not trying to take the piss basically. But
Okay.
I'm just saying, innit?
So what you say, like Shade Borough, they remixed the
I think
thing.
so.
What the editors are,
The
I think so.
editing,
they're up to
A1.
no good.
But you know, before we make him the Agbaya of the week, yeah, I'm on the fence because SHAQ now tweeted something saying bad energy, stay far away. And I'm thinking, brother, but you was in front of him. Why could he say that to his face? Like, regardless of what he said, you could have said, nah, the same thing, bad energy.
Yeah,
That needs to stay
100%.
far away. Let's move on to another subject and cut the thing short. So I don't know. I can say that maybe SHAQ could be the Agbaya of the week for being
For letting that happen to him. And not defending himself.
for not defending
I
himself.
have two Agbayas, bro.
We had 2 Agbaya.
Two Agbayas.
Both of you chop slap.
Obviously, like moving on, you get me. Mo Samuels,
Yeah.
got man finally in the building.
Yeah.
You
Sit
know,
then.
love that.
Yeah.
And obviously, we want to talk about like in life, yeah. What is it to gain the world but lose your soul?
Okay.
You see, and in life, sometimes I feel like we were talking about this. When you're in a vulnerable state,
What are you willing to do?
what are you willing to do? You understand? Then you're vulnerable and talented.
Yeah.
And now it's come to the point now that without the knowledge, the understanding, now you're gaining friends. It may be bad friends sometimes
Yeah.
with ulterior motives for you. And now you're in situations that you shouldn't have been in had you have had the knowledge for. You see, but on top of that, you're getting the recognition. Everything's shining on you, the money's coming
I think
in.
it's important when you get to that stage, yeah. Just before it gets to that stage, I think if you feel it coming, you should look for a mentor.
But sometimes you
I
can
know
see-
it's hard to, because you're not guiding. People won't be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go look for a mentor. But I think when a lot of things are happening at the same time and you can't handle it a little bit, and I don't know, or you have that little inkling like I might need someone to help me get to that stage because it's gonna be a lot. I don't know. That's how I would think.
Obviously, that's the mentor, because manager's the mentor.
okay.
So now there's people there trying to give you advice and whatnot, but you're dismissing it because you're thinking, bruv, I made this all on my own.
Yeah.
Why the hell would I need your input now when you was with me at the beginning? You understand? And could that be seen as losing yourself? And it goes back. It goes into in relation to how you came up, how you started, and were there ever times where you felt that this man can't chat to me, man? He don't know the F major, the triads I'm playing. Fam.
I'm trying to think of like how to even articulate it, because like it's easy when you're on the outside to have an opinion of what you think something is, and then you're inside and you're like, okay, maybe it isn't. Like, you know how everyone is like, this person is Illuminati and this person is Freemason and this person, and then you're actually in it. You're like, okay, well, whatever idea of the Illuminati that we have isn't actually what it is. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And whatever idea of, people that have sold their soul isn't really what we think it is. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, it's a lot more, with selling your soul and all of that stuff, there's a lot more details to it. There's a lot more like in-depth things that the normal person isn't gonna know. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, there's a lot of conspiracy, there's a lot of things. And one thing, like I said just before we started rolling, was just like, what may not make sense to us always makes sense to God in some sort of way, innit? Do you get what I mean?
Come on.
And either way, his will be done, innit?
That's it.
So if that's for someone to learn their lesson in a specific way, then that's gonna happen. But it's not for me to judge and be like, you must be da-da-da. Like, we hear people saying, Beyonce has sold her soul. How do you know? How do you know, right? That, and I try my best to not use the Bible as a referencing point, but there's a part where Jesus kind of talks about how, like, the people that you'll see in heaven, you'll be surprised because you wouldn't even believe that they even got there. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Or very much so, the guy that was next to Jesus on the cross, he was just like, today you'll see me in paradise. This guy had killed and robbed somebody, but for some reason he made it. Why? Do you get what I'm trying to say? So it's just like, I think the most important thing is focusing on what you're called to do, focusing on your purpose, focusing on why you're here. Do you get what I mean? We all have a why. Everybody does. Like, no one was made by a mistake. Nobody was brought here to just exist. Whether you know that or you don't know that, everyone's here for everyone that was made, that's living, or everything that's made has a purpose. And as long as that purpose is being fulfilled, any extra doesn't even matter.
Well,
It's just, it doesn't even matter.
let me ask, what made you go into the music? What was the start of it? So obviously, like, I know from like college and secondary, do you know what I mean? But like, what made you like push so hard and like not give up on it?
It started in church. Obviously, Damo knows, isn't it?
You know, every
what
time
I mean?
in music,
It's crazy
you see more. You
it's
see more
crazy.
like, sorry to cut you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. But it's mad because our families knew each other and we didn't even know that.
Oh yeah,
Our families knew each other from time. So obviously we were
It's
just
mad. His brother's in my mum and dad's wedding
in
picture.
wedding
yeah.
pictures.
Swear.
Brother, it's mad.
Yeah. So
Okay.
but everything really started in church. Like, you're born and then you're just a Christian. Do you know what I mean? And we go to church every Sunday, or at least Tuesday to Sunday, you know. And then so at the age of like 7,
Yeah.
my brother, you know, he had like left the church that we was at, my uncle's church, because he didn't like how it was just bare traditional and you know African churches.
Yeah.
So he was like, he's gone. And this was when New Wine was transitioning from their church in Greenwich to where the old cinema was. And then I remember my sister was like, well, since your brother's not here, you're gonna start playing keys. And I was like,
Oh, swear.
okay, how's this gonna? And before God and man, God taught me. Like, I didn't have no lesson. I didn't go to no music teacher or nothing. It was literally like figuring out. Remember, there was no YouTube. There was none of this.
Yeah,
so it was just pressing piano at home on the Casio, trying to figure out what it is. And I'll never forget, Anointing was my first song that I ever knew. He knows what I'm talking about. That was the first song that I ever even thought about. All right, cool. Like, this is this. And then I just started playing, and then obviously you start developing. But the church was really the foundation. That's really where it began. And then obviously, you don't know anything about music production. I don't know what that is. And then you get to secondary school, and you know
Was
what
it
I mean?
the Cubase and the
Miss Ryan. Shout out Miss Ryan.
Shout out Miss Ryan.
Ryan,
Shout- you know what's so mad, yeah?
key.
You know how I met Mo, yeah? Like obviously our families knew each other and whatnot.
Yeah.
But when I literally physically met him, I remember this. I don't know if you remember this. Obviously, I came to St. Columbus. Shout out St. Columbus. Obviously, the man them there. Obviously, in the music team, there was a piano there, innit? Obviously, I was telling him, yeah, man plays the piano. He was like, yeah, let me hear you. In my head, I thought, bad. Bad. Came on it, started playing the thing.
yeah.
Obviously, Mo was like, yeah, okay, that's decent, that's calm.
Oh, is it?
He was like, you want to do something now?
Oh, okay.
Started singing, man. I just looked, I said, nah.
He said, "Wow,
Bro, I was like, yeah, there's levels.
this guy thought it was me."
Bro,
it was me.
You know, because wherever you go, you're just playing keys.
Yeah, of course.
You know,
Yeah.
When you hear people say, yo, you're naturally
Yeah, of
gifted.
course.
So now you see somebody as gifted or
Same.
even more
Yeah,
gifted
yeah,
than you.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
like, rah, there's levels. You can't.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
when the delusion. That's when the delusion. starts.
Reality.
Reality hit me that
Yeah.
there's levels to this, and you can't go around thinking you're the guy because there's always somebody that's equally the guy or the guy more than you. You see what I'm trying to say? And I'll let you carry on still.
Yeah, nah, that was literally like he said, like, and even when he's talking about levels, there was levels above me. Do you know what I mean? I definitely had my moments where I thought, yeah, man can play keys, and then you kind of go into like gospel like circles and musician circles, and then you hear a man that can really play keys, and you're like, you know what? This is where I'm gonna end this. All of this, man, them playing in all 12 keys. I'm here still transposing. Like, like there's different levels. Do you get what I mean? But either way, like for me, one thing I always say about me when it comes to playing keys is like I'm a team player. So whenever I'm in bands, I'm always about how the band sounds collectively rather than the person that's like, which is all good and well. But if we all sound good together, then my job is done as the music director. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. So obviously you spoke to us about what got you into music now, and like tell us about where music has taken you now,
man. Bro, so yeah, like I said, so off camera, but yeah, so it literally goes from like being in college, being in secondary school, to then next minute you're on planes flying to LA. That transition was crazy, and shout out to my brother Harmony because he was already in London. He'd already done stuff in London. I don't know if you lot remember the producer battles, Jump Off.
Yeah.
He won that in like 2004.
Yeah.
Right, so he won that. So
Come on, you have to give my man his flowers. He was Dark Child's protege.
he got signed to Rodney. So he had done that. He was working with Fundamental when Fundamental were kind of big at the time, and then 2009, and obviously
he days.
Yeah. So he was obviously looking for his break, right? And he'd been going to New York and whatnot, and there's many places, where he's spoken about how he even ended up at RJ's house and all of that stuff. But he signed in 2009. Now, between this point, I hadn't really spoken or seen him because my parents did everything to basically keep that relationship apart. They were just like, he's doing music, he's a bad boy.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? So I wasn't allowed to see him. So, it was very far and few where I would travel to North London to his studio to see him. And I'd have to sneak because if my parents found out, they'd be like, we told you don't go.
Really?
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, because he left home, innit? He left at 17 and he was just on, like, I'm doing my own thing. Like, I'm not following you, man. I'm doing this. So they were just very, like, against everything he did. So 2008-9, he was going back and forth to New York. And obviously the music industry at the time was in New York. It wasn't even in LA yet. Do you get what I mean? And that's another story because like it usually switches. So 1 minute it's like New York. Remember, New York was the place at one point. Then Atlanta was the place. And then Miami was the place. And then now LA's the place. And then it's moving again. So, but anyway, he goes to LA and then signs to Rodney in 2009. And then I think a year and a half later, we catch up or something. He's like, "Oh, come to Los Angeles," and I'm like, "To where?" He's like, "Come to LA." I was like, "What are you doing?" I live here now. And then I was like, "Raw." Cool. So yeah, he says come to LA. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. So, and obviously man's at uni as well, innit? So I'm using my uni money to fund flight, bro.
Imagine.
That bursary, that grant.
That grant, fam. So 2011. Now I don't want to miss this part. So between 2009 to 11, Mikey and I, shout out Mike.
Come on, shout out Mikey.
Started SOS. Now SOS actually consisted of 4 people: me, Mike, Fola, who's now an amazing makeup artist, Lake Sano. I don't know if you know who she is, and obviously Shay Jacobs. Yeah, shout out Shay. So that was 4 of us, right? So 2009 to 11, we were obviously doing this thing, and we were kind of picking up heat at unis, and just putting stuff. This is where YouTube was kind of very new, right? And then 2011, I go to my brother says, "Come to LA." I come to LA, and I remember getting there, and I was just like, "What the hell is this? Like, where am I? Like, this is live GTA, like San Andreas in real time."
Because you're used to London, you're used to Thames, you're used to the ends, innit?
What the? And you gotta understand, it's baking hot in like March. I'm like, this is mad. So then, I go there, and I just remember, I got to the studio that he had just started building, and I remember I had tunes in it, and I just remember he played like 2 songs, and I was like, I'm whack. You know when you had that, I was like, there's levels. I remember I couldn't produce for like 2 months because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how it was gonna be on the same level or how. So I couldn't produce. I was bamboozled. I was finished. I remember just calling Mac and being like, listen. This LA, it's a different ball game, bro. Wherever you think or wherever we thought about London, this is a different situation. And then the following year, Mikey came out, and then he was just like, "Yeah, he was right." And then it just became a routine thing. Like twice a year, we're going to LA, and we would always bang 3 months because 3 months is the maximum, innit? 90 days on a tourist visa. And obviously, when you're going, you're just saying, "I'm coming to visit family," but you're really coming to do work, innit? Of course. So 90 days, so we would bang it, and then it just became a tradition. It just every year, LA, and then obviously 2013, we worked on Ariana Grande's album, and then that kind of was how everything kind of started opening up.
How was that feeling though, Ariana Grande? Imagine that, like, you get to work on an album. Do you know what I mean? Like, how did that make you feel from your journey? Was this like one of the big like milestones, would you say?
Yeah, at the time it was, because like I said, like you think that we all think that once you get that one is going to be the defining factor. You think, and obviously, when they say, God looks at your plan and he laughs. Like, God's plan was completely different. We thought, all right, work on a big artist, and then everything is going to open. And it's like, that is not how it works.
Just blown.
It's not how it works. There's a lot of groundwork that you have to do. And, different things mean different things in different territories. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So, like I said off camera, she wasn't big in London, so nobody knew who she was yet. Even though she was big in all of these countries, nobody actually knew who Ariana Grande was. So we've come back now, and A&Rs are telling us, bro, we don't care. Who is she? We don't know who she is. And we're scratching our head like, I thought this guy number one.
It's Ari now.
What's going on?
You don't know.
Yeah. Go to YouTube. Go check.
We're like, number one in 50 countries. No. We're scratching our head, and then that's when, you know, the whole thing about, all right, we need to break or work with a UK artist to, you know, at least get the ball rolling over here while we're still living here, because we had no intention of moving to LA yet. There was no idea of, oh, we're moving to LA. It was just, we're going back and forth for now. And this is what's happening. So, yeah, bro. Yeah.
So it's one of them ones, obviously, you spoke about the journey. Like, part of the journey is Mikey. You see, like, and you can't just leave him out.
No.
Very
important.
definitely.
Come on.
Shout out, Big
And
Mike.
it's mad because with Mikey, yeah, I remember there was a time at Shay's barbecue.
Yeah.
And like, he just looked at me, innit? And we just looked at each other. He's like, well gone. I was like, you good? He's like, you don't remember me, do you? And I was like, I was trying, you know, as soon as he said that, I was trying to figure it out. Then I remembered, oh shit. St. Thomas, you're possible together.
Oh, swear.
You see, obviously, and the transformation from St. Thomas to now, like, I didn't even know he played the drums.
Yeah.
You see,
Sick drummer.
you understand? And it's crazy. We thank God because all of these things come from church.
Yeah.
You understand? But so how did you guys like actually encounter each other and come up with the SOS?
Man, that situation was crazy because I'd actually met Mike at my uncle's church that I was at the time. And he always tells this story that we met, and then he was like, I asked him, do you want something to drink? And I gave him a tango or something like that. I gave him a tango or something like that. And then we didn't see each other for time. So then we left, 2003, I left my mum's brother's church, my uncle's church, right? And then we went to this new church in Old Kent Road.
Okay.
Bigger church, bigger stage, everything, right? And so maybe a year or so in, I was already like the second keyboard player. Do you get what I'm trying? So obviously the pastor's son was the main keyboard player, the pastor's son was the drummer, and then their family already knew who our family was as well. And you know, when you're in that church scene, everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows everyone. So exactly. So everyone knew everyone. So we went to the church and whatnot. So Mikey came a year later, and then I must have come off stage one time after playing, and he was there, and he was just like, "Yo, Mo, like, remember me from your uncle's church?" And I was like, "Nah, bro."
I said he just crushed these dreams.
And every time, and I feel so bad because I don't even remember.
Mikey, don't have this. Don't have this. Fight back.
So he was just like, I was like, nah, I don't even remember, because he came to the church with his boys, and he was telling these boys, he was like, nah, I know, man. I know this man, innit? So he's come over to man, and they're like, you don't know him, bro. So he's come over to me like, yo, Mo, and I'm like,
No, I don't know you.
nah, fam, I don't remember you.
It's
So
not me,
he's
it's
got
not
back to
me.
his boys, and his boys were like, I told you don't know him. But literally from that moment, we just created a bond, bro. And then he joined the church, and then he became the church's drummer as well, second drummer. And then, the years were going by, 2004, 5, 6, 7. And obviously, he went to Christ the King.
Okay.
And obviously, like, everybody went to Christ the King, and he knew a lot of people there. And then he did music over there while I was doing music at St. Luke's. And then, 2008, 9, just before we go to uni, we're at a church retreat, and we're having a conversation, and while we're on our way there, we're just like, we're tired of how like the music is in the UK. Like, this is dead. Like, anything you try and do, it just gets blocked. And obviously, with my knowledge at the time, I thought, being the brother of a producer who's kind of done things in the UK and whatnot, like, man would get, in quotes, an easy pass. Definitely wasn't the case. So, and then Mike and I was like, can't we just come together and just make a duo thing? He was like, yeah, I'm down still. And then I remember when we got to the church, convention where it was in Milton Keynes. I remember we was on stage and we were thinking about names, like, what are we going to call ourselves? Like, do you know what I mean? And it originally was, you remember that magazine, that music magazine that was called Sound on Sound?
Yeah. you know, I'll be real, yeah. Every time I hear SOS, it reminds me of Sound on Sound.
Yeah, Sound on Sound. So we were like, all right, SOS Entertainment, Sound on, we're not going to call ourselves Sound on Sound because you can't, but SOS in it's like an alarm, emergency, like wherever it is, you man need to pay attention. So that's how it started. And then I was like, well, I know someone that can join, Shay. And then he was like, I know someone that can join, Fola. And then, we had the conversation, and then it was just like a no-brainer. I was like, all right, cool. everyone. And then 2009 to 11, we were just making tunes. That's when we did Shay's first EP.
Come
This
on,
was
shout
when-
out Shay,
Shout out
you know,
Shay
Shay
Jacobs. And like we did his first EP, Late Arrival, and you know those moments were really just important because that was where we kind of like were at our foundational like times. Like we learned certain things. We learned how to record properly. We learned how to mix and master. You know, we just the learning aspect of that was really pivotal to what would happen like a couple years on. So then and then we started that, and then obviously like I said, 2011 started going to LA and whatnot. And Shay was coming with us, and Fola actually never came, but yeah, Shay was coming with us, and then a couple years into going, like everyone kind of just was like, all right, everyone had their own plans, innit? Everyone kind of was like, all right, this is what I want to do, and this is what I want to do. But me and Mike were like, nah, this is what we're doing. Do you get what I mean? And we just stuck to it, bro. And you know, like we're one of the best duos to come out of the UK.
Come
on,
on,
facts.
100%,
facts.
So
You
yeah,
don't
bro.
know, get to know. Trust me.
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
know the good thing about it, it's like what you said, and it just demonstrates that what a lot of people lack. It's like people still have pride and ego to that's stopping them from coming together and building a force that's known to be reckoned with.
Yeah. A lot of people want to be the guy, innit?
Exactly.
I think that's what it is, innit?
How many times has like you probably gone to someone, bro, like let's do this
Yeah,
together,
yeah,
and yeah, man, you don't hear from them no more, or maybe in their head they're thinking this guy's not serious to do business with, or whatnot.
But what's the secret ingredients in that? I think it's even off camera, innit? It's the stuff that goes down off cameras, helping each other, having that one goal,
That communication,
that
the alignment,
yeah.
you understand, and obviously
being able to trust each other and that.
Yeah, come on. Do you trust me? Like and subscribe. But obviously, you know, one thing you touched on is like, obviously, you felt like having your brother there as a well-known producer, was an easy path, and it wasn't. And do you ever feel like people think or come to that sort of assumption that, because Harmony Samuels is your brother, you've had the easy route compared to everyone?
Of course, that's probably part of the reasons why like I was so determined to do a lot of things that had nothing to do with him.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so much. You know what I mean? Just it comes with the territory. Do you get what I mean? Like whenever you know anyone in history or any famous person that has a little brother or whatever, you always know that person always lives in the brother's shadow. Do you get what I'm trying to say? It's just like you just get you're just there because of the
him,
older brother. Like you know what I'm trying to say? And
Like he put you on or something.
yeah, exactly. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like there wasn't major things that he did. So, like, for instance, being able to live somewhere while we were traveling to LA was a beneficial factor. A lot of people that come to LA are like, it's expensive. So, we didn't have to pay
pay
for
that,
somewhere
yeah,
to
of
live.
course.
Yeah.
Because we lived with him. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, we stayed with him. So, that already bypassed so much things, like, and that was major. You know what I mean? It's like all we had to do was bring spending money
That's it.
to be able to just live. We had to be able to eat and move around. But there was a house and we had somewhere we could lay our bed. So those major things. But when it came to like, you know, the other things, you know, the projects that we were doing, you know, especially the stuff in London, like that was me and Mike by the special grace of God. Like that was Mike and I. Like that wasn't anything to do with him. Do you know what I mean? He was hearing and was like, you man are really like picking up steam over there. It's like, yeah, bro. Like you set the blueprint in it and it's just for us to follow. And so, like I said, like a lot of people instinctively think that, oh, because you're attached to this person, they must have just bust you open. It's like, nah, man. Like, if anything, it's harder. It's way harder because, you know, people are judging you based on what that person has done. And if you don't make that thing, or if you don't make that quote, if you don't,
You're not good enough.
you're
You
not,
didn't hit that.
bro, and just a lot of pressure. Do you get what I mean? And there was so many times where I felt like I had to live up to this like persona that he had created, and I had to live up to this thing that he created, and it wasn't allowing me to just be me.
Was there any time, or has there been any time where you felt like, I have to not give up, but like I'm not too sure if this is for me anymore? Have you ever got to that point where it's like, I'm not sure, you know?
Yeah. So many times. Yeah. Even up until like
can you explain?
maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I was like, music. Yeah, just because like the music industry is forever changing, innit? Do you know what I mean? Like we went from being able to buy music on iTunes and stuff to now you just stream it. It's like it changes, bro. So, and if you don't understand what evolution is really about, if you really don't understand what it means to constantly grow, you're going to be stuck like some of our parents are, It becomes harder to relate to them because they're so like stuck in a way of life
tradition.
and a way of thinking. Exactly. So, and if you don't understand what evolution is about, like even God has evolved. You have to evolve in order to like grow and in order to stay relevant. And like, you know, with the music industry changing, you're just like, bun this, man. Like, why am I even doing this? It's like, now it's streaming. Do you get what I mean? Or you go on TikTok and, you know, you do one song and then next minute you're hitting me like,
It's
what?
nonsense.
It's silly. Do you get what I mean? Now, I respect everyone's hustle and how everyone does it. But where I came from and how it was coming up for us, like, you actually had to be talented.
Yeah.
Like, you actually had to sing. Like, you really had to, do you get what I mean? And, you know, whereas now it's just like, it's so much different. So there are moments where you're just like, bun this, man. Like, forget this. Or, you know, when you're working on all these albums, you know, especially because Mike and I had like a run, like 2015, because we did 3 Wretch albums, 2 mixtapes with Wretch, Mel C, like 2015 right up until 20, like it was just every year.
I remember that day you showed me that track with Mel C.
Yeah. We ended up doing 5 on her album. We brought her back, top 20. Like it was we were just on a roll.
Hey, Bex, you hear that? Come on. Make sure you like and subscribe.
You get what I mean? Like it was just rolling. And, you know, at some point you realize like, what is man really chasing? Like, because you get that thing and you're just like, okay, it hasn't.
Like what next? Or
what next? Or you feel like it's gonna be the defining factor, and it just isn't. You get what I mean? Like, and so like, at those moments you're just like, man, bun this. But it's in those circumstances that you're like, what's my why? You know what I mean? Like, what's the reason why I'm doing this? And you always go back to why you started it in the first place. Man was just young guys making music. Man was just a couple guys from Thamesmead, from Lewisham. You know what I mean? Just we love music, innit? Let's just make music. And when you make that your why and you make that the focus point, all the extra stuff that comes with this music business doesn't even matter anymore.
Okay, so obviously you said that, like, you know, all the, you know, you go back to your whys, you know, why are you doing this? Like, obviously to a young person, you know, a young boy aspiring to be a producer, they've even come across your music and, you know, they aspire to be just like you, coming out of the hood or the suburbs or wherever. Like, what would be your advice to them? Because, like, you know where it is. You remember back in the days, you know, you're there making the beat, you're thinking, oh, this is it. You're coming over to me, say, yo, listen to this, listen to that. And I'm like, that's cold. But then you go out of school now, you go to someone else, and you're like, listen to this, and they're like,
it's not it.
And now you're just sitting there thinking, but I just spent like 5-6 hours making this. Like, what would be your advice to them?
Man, I think if anything, one of the first things that I would say is, like, just focus on your craft, man. That is the one thing you can't control anything else other than being good at your craft, right?
True. Yes. True.
So, how many times have we heard people or hit records become hits, but you hear the story of how it became a hit. Some A&R said, "No, this is whack," or "This is crap," or "Nah, there's no way, it can't be no," and then it blows up. There's a determination that person has, or belief in their ability that actually makes that thing happen. Do you get what I mean? So for any young person, it's just like, believe in what God has given you. Believe in the gift he's given you. What does it say? Like, your gift will make room for you, right? So as long as I focus on that part of the thing, then everything else that's going to come is going to come. But what happens is a lot of people want to focus not just on the music part, but everything else. Like, all right, cool. So man produces, but man is trying to, you know, A&R and do all of these extra things. It's just like, fam, like, you're doing too much.
Yeah, for real.
Just focus on, I'm a producer. Get good at being a producer. Focus on, you know, being a better mixer, mastering better, recording better. Like I said earlier, those foundations of working on SHAQ's project was so important because we could just focus. We didn't have no pressure of like, all right, I'm signed now, I got to deliver 5 songs by the end of the year.
No.
Okay.
Man didn't have that. We're just making music and we're getting better every time that we make it. And when you do eventually make it, you still have to use those same principles. Let me just focus on the music. Let me just focus on making sure that the music is good, because that's the only thing that's in my capacity to control. Anything outside of it, it's all opinions, right? And A&R says it's good, someone else is gonna say it's bad. This person says it's bad, this person says it's good.
But if the quality is there,
As long as I'm
That's the-
putting
yeah,
out
yeah,
what
yeah.
is really important to me, or is
Yeah.
really a representation of who I am, then it will show. Whether that's one person likes it, my job's done.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. And even what you're even saying even made me realize in my younger days where obviously, like you said, you're doing too much. I was doing the production, I was rapping, I was doing the singing, I was doing the hook, to the point that I was expecting everything to be A1. But someone could say that hook is cold, but that the verse is lacking. Someone could say, bro, the production is calm.
we had
But
this conversation.
You understand? And it's one of them ones like it came to that point where a lot of people did say to me, bro, you know what, maybe you should just, stick to production, innit? But then the issue is that when you stick to a certain thing with a lot of young up-and-coming artists or producers struggle with is that once you stick to one thing, you don't really have the resources to get an artist or maybe get a singer. So you tend to just say, you know what, for the meantime, I'm just going to rap on these beats. I'm just going to do
makes
this
sense.
and just get it out. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
But then it comes to a point where, you do tend to do too much because when you get to a certain level, now you got the awareness and whatnot, give the beats out rather than still thinking you can still do it all. Because, cool, underground level, it might be cold, but when you get to mainstream, that might not be it.
Yeah.
You see?
But then that person who kind of maybe stuck to their craft and, like you said, perfected it, will get to that mainstream level. And I think that's the difference.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Bro, wait, I mean, there's everybody. Before Jay-Z, as he says, I'm a businessman. Before Jay-Z became that, bro, he was a rapper. He was
Yeah, of
selling
course.
drugs, bro.
Yeah.
They didn't.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Yeah, allegedly. Do you get what I mean? He was just a rapper. He just focused on being the best rapper. LeBron James just focused on being the best basketball player. He wasn't a billionaire when he just came into the game. He was just, I'm gonna be the best basketball player. David Beckham, he wasn't doing no perfume or nothing that he was doing or owning teams. He was just the best free kick taker in England.
There you go.
That's it.
Definitely.
Once you're able to focus on that and get that to a point or perfect it, then other things are gonna open up for you to be able to showcase what other gifts you have. Do you get what I'm trying to say? But what we're trying to do is like, all right, I'm great at this. It works a little bit now. Or it's like, all right, it's not working now, so let me move to this. Yeah, let me, because it's like everybody's always looking for a break, innit? Everybody's looking for something, like for me to get in the door, and it's just like, if you're consistent enough at that one thing, it's gonna open the door to everything else that you want, innit? Do you get what I'm trying to say? So if me focusing on just production opened me up to being a fashion designer, opened me up to being a stylist and all of that stuff. And I'm going to take the same principle I applied in production in these other industries. So let me just focus on being a good fashion designer.
Come on.
Let me just focus on being a good stylist. And
hear that.
so on and so forth,
And come on, that's the real talk. And obviously, just rounding up now, like, obviously, you're talking about your fashion design and your clothing line. Like, tell the people then what, to expect of you in the next 3 months, years.
So I just recently signed my first modeling contract in LA.
Jeez,
Come on.
Yeah. Just did my first walk, LA Fashion Week about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago before I got here. So, watch me. I'm going to be on billboards. I'm going to be in everything. Then I'm also a stylist. 2021, I styled some really big people. I got my first spread in Vogue Japan, which was really, really cool. So more styling, more celebrity stylings coming. And then obviously my clothing line called Black Paradise is what I've been working on. So, the whole theme of Black Paradise is made in Africa by Africans. So it's coming to stores near you. So keep it locked, keep peeled, and you'll be seeing it soon. Yeah.
Come on, man.
You know that meme with that African dad like this. As you're talking, I'm just looking at you like
Proud dad.
I'm so proud,
Proud dad.
But come on, like Mo, thank you for coming on.
No, thank you for having me, guys, man.
Come on, and obviously before we go, just let the people know where they can find you.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram, Mo_Samuels, Twitter, Mo_Samuels1. Those two basically.
Come on.
I keep it real simple and sweet. So Instagram or Twitter, you'll find me.
Come on, man. You heard it here at the Agbaya show, man. Come on, man. Mo Samuels, Black Paradise, SOS. You know how it is, man. Come on, man. We're out.